In high school, I let it blam, water, I wasn't playing, water, I'm coming straight out the south. Hey, genius, best watch your mouth. When I put up on P&B, right, that ain't he come out. You moving ounces, I just moved 100 things in a drought. You want the south side, outside the fence of your house. You talking all that, then wanna come talk it out. If you ain't talking money,
I remember when I was working for Steve, my boy introduced me to the manager of this new artist that Dr. Dre had just signed named Game, and I heard his music, and I just knew day one, I was like, wow, this kid is incredible. Like, let's connect with him. So I connected with him early, and I was doing a lot of marketing for different brands like T-Mobile and Chrysler, and would always hook him up with things. So we built a really just like cool friendship. And then I remember the night, like, he was like, man, they want me to sign to G-Unit. And G-Unit at the time, like 50 had just came out, like Lloyd Banks, the album, like they were on top of the world. And he'd been signed to Dre. He hadn't found the right record yet. And so it was moving a little slower. So this was a way to kind of accelerate him getting out there. And dude is just so, like, Game is so talented. Still one of the most talented rappers I've ever been in the studio with. So that connection happened, and it was just magic. We saw what happened, right? And the records they put out, and it took the world by fire because G-Unit had, obviously, New York on lock. They had the South with Young Buck, who was on fire at the time. And then Game was the West Coast answer to that. And he had the perfect story, already the background with Dre, and people in the mix knew.
Game was really the West Coast, like, savior.
There wasn't much.
There was not a lot happening on the West Coast.
There, and I was there, right? There wasn't any, especially new artists, right? Like, there was nothing, there wasn't really anything going on outside of, like, local stuff. There was nothing on a national level that was there, and Game came and just, like, man, was on fire, and then connected with G-Unit. And I remember we did, like, I think it was either my 20th or 21st birthday party together and stuff because we shared like the same birthday month. So we were like within, I think, a week of each other. And we became really cool and good friends. And he obviously then got into the beef with 50. And I remember being on set. It was being on set for the Hate It or Love It video. And there was just this tension. They wouldn't even sit next to each other in the car if you go back and look to it. And you could tell there was some stuff happening. There was, I mean, like, look, you get two alpha personalities, right? Yep. And everybody wants to take credit. 50, I don't think, was happy that Game was getting all the success, and he'd actually done all that, and Game maybe wasn't giving him the proper credit for some of the work that he did. Anyways, it was clashing. There was things behind the scenes. They got it right. And there was the incident where somebody got shot, all that drama. Then they patched it up. And I remember meeting Game after they'd done the first, like, they did a press conference, I think. Was it Jesse Jackson or Farrakhan? Somebody came in to help, like, mediate that beef. And I remember meeting with Game in LA right after all that happened, or right actually before that press conference he was going to go out and do it. And he's like, yeah, we're going to be good. Like, they're solving it. But he's like, I'm still not messing with dude. Like, it is what it is. And I happened to then meet him. Like, a few months go by, right? And, you know, 50 started still throwing shots at Game. Game wasn't saying much, but on the radio, like, oh, I wrote his records, blah, blah, blah. Like, they had kind of separated, but it was supposed to be amicable. There was no beef, but 50 threw these little jabs. And Game didn't like that. And I had my offices at the time were right on Melrose in L.A., and it was right across from, ironically enough, the popular store at the time was either Ed Hardy or Christian Audige, one of the brands. And yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, I never wore. You'll never find my picture in those things, luckily. But
you didn't do no trucker hats?
Never had. I never could get into them, and I was always a fitted guy. And from there, but Game happened to be over there because my boy T Mills was doing all the marketing, and he's picking up some shirts. And I just ran into him. I was walking down the street, like, to get some food or get a juice or something, and he played me. He's like, I want to give you this record. I'm going at 50. It's time. I was like, what? You're really going to, like, diss him? He's like, yeah, he's talking, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're going in. So he gave me this. He's like, I'm doing 300 bars. And Game had already done 100 bars, 200 bars on an old mixtape. So it was a thing that he did. And I was like, damn, that's going to be a long record. Like, it's going to be like 15 minutes.
Right.
And he had, like, the first 3 minutes done, but it was all over one beat. It was over the KRS-One BDP Love's Gonna Get You beat, which is dope, but, like, very monotonous, right? And you can't, like, listen to that for more than a few minutes. And I was like, damn, you can't go out like that and do it for 15 minutes. So he didn't even ask anything. I had a studio at my office, and I just did like a Jackin' for Beats style mix and sent him a file and was like, yo, check your email. You should do some stuff like this, just an idea. 15 minutes later, he calls me like, I'm on the way to the studio to you. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, we're going to record it right now. I was like, all right. And that was like,
damn, water. In high school, I let it blam, water, I wasn't playing, water, I'm coming straight out the south. Hey, genius, best watch your mouth.